I'm not used to her smile 8 years down the line, and I know 19 years.
It can never be enough.
I'm not serving breakfast. If you want, you can cook, and I'm continuing with the cleaning.
Because God is the one who has blessed us with this child. So He has the manual.
There are some people who, when they come to your place, they belittle you.
I had a plethora of expectations.
I realized that there is beauty in dark ladies.
When I get money, I only use it for three things. For fare, credit, and just a small bit just to keep my pocket busy.
This is family times. It is that other time that we talk about family matters. This is Family Times, the show that brings you what happens in the family. Everything that you'd want to know about family, this is the place to be. My name is Dave Riaga, and today we are joined with this couple, my friend and your wife. I want to give you this time to introduce this lovely lady, and you also introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Brother Dave. We are happy to be here as a family. My lovely wife is Molly Odhiambo Odur, and I am Peter Odur.
Molly, would you want to say something? Someone, the viewer might think that your voice is...
Okay, I welcome you to the program, and we thank God so much for this program.
Thank
Amen.
you. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
And this lady sitting next to me here is none other than Linda Riaga, my wife. Say hi to our viewer.
Hello, viewer.
Thank you so much. Our co-hosts, as always, do it the way you want to do it.
I have the pleasure to introduce my wonderful husband, Richard Ouma.
And I'd love to introduce this beautiful lady, who is my wife, Tabitha Opio.
Tabitha Opio. Peter and Molin have been together for the last 8 years.
Sure.
And still strong.
Praise God.
And for just to remind you that our co-hosts have been married for the last 19 years.
10 plus 9.
Solid years.
Yes.
Now, you are at the right time and the right people to talk about this. Our viewer, today we are going to look at solving conflicts. A marriage is a place of bliss, but with difficulties. And the conflicts that we are going to talk about are the difficulties. Richard,
Yes.
conflict
Yes.
in marriage.
They are bound to be there, first of all, because we are two different people who have come together and have been married, struggling to be one. Because that's what we should be. Two, which comes to one. And because of these differences in backgrounds, or, you know, how we grew up, different views, environments, we are bound to have one or two things within the family for which we can't see eye to eye. But what do you think, honey?
I think so.
Yeah, go on.
I think you're very right, because without conflict, there's no fun.
Conflicts.
Make it fun. You know why?
Yeah.
Because you get to even understand your spouse more or better.
Yes.
Yes. Because without conflict, there's a lot of pretense.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
All right.
You cannot say it's perfect.
When
Linda,
you're pushed to a corner, that's when you now reveal your whole character.
Yes. So,
marriage is supposed to be peaceful, right?
Yes.
Conflicts. But you have stated well that that is when now you get to know who this person is. Peter and Molin, conflicts in marriage. How do you understand it? Because as far as I'm concerned, marriage is a union between two people who are in love.
Yes.
And when I think about love, I think about peace, joy, patience, conflicts.
Thank you so much, Dave. I think I want to concur with our brother Richard and even congratulate them for the wonderful years they have spent together.
Thank you.
And I think they have gone through a myriad of
Yes,
challenges.
yes, obviously.
As well, we have also undergone such kind of things because where two people who have come from different backgrounds meet together, you obviously find they have to collide at some point. And it's bound to make people who are objective enough grow stronger. But for those who are pessimists, those who think life is all smooth, they cannot grow.
Now, you're talking about people who they disagree or they have conflict and they want to walk away. You say they are pessimists?
For sure.
But Molin, conflicts we are not supposed to have conflicts.
No. I think when, for example, when a lady or a man is courting, or they are courting each other, they think that marriage is going to be a bed of roses. But indeed, it is not. It is a rose, but let's remember that a rose is also having a sweet smell. It's having those doesn't need the thorns. So you just have to adapt and move on. It's not easy.
Yes, Richard.
One writer says that if you want to know how kind you are, get married.
For sure.
Get married.
If you want to know how patient you are, get married. Yes.
Are you scaring the young people out there?
No, because you are going to be tested.
Yes.
You are going to be tested. And unless you are prepared for that, you probably will not go. You may run away.
And that is why I need to remind, Tabby, I'm coming to you, that is why I need to remind our viewer that we are talking about conflicts, solving conflicts. Otherwise, we'll just be talking about conflicts. But we want to know from
Prepare.
you guys,
Get ready.
how did you sort out that conflict? And what was this conflict? Tabby, you wanted to...
I just wanted to add on the same line that I spoke. The first line that I said is, conflict is fun. I know the viewer is wondering, really? How can it be fun? And it is involving pain, anger, and everything. The beauty is you said solving conflict. So after solving conflict, you'll be laughing about it. Because you'll be like, really? Did you just solve that? Did you just do that?
You ask yourself.
Allow me
Yes,
to
Peter.
add something.
Yeah.
You see, conflict basically comes out of misunderstanding.
Yes.
And when you talk of conflict, the viewer might be wondering, are we talking of a serious fight that probably leads to physical harm or
Not
what?
necessarily,
It can even emanate from a very small thing, but the fact that it's a misunderstanding, already that
It's a
makes
conflict.
conflict to
That
start.
becomes a conflict.
So sometimes when we want to give examples of these conflicts, and if you allow me to start, I can't even remember which year was that, but I remember I used to love coffee. Before I stopped taking coffee, I used to love this dark.
Nescafe.
Not that one. I can't even remember. the name.
Kahawa number one.
I used to love it so much, and I used to put a lot of it so that I would get it nicely. And all this time, Linda is watching me and not commenting anything. I think when it reached the peak, one day she told me, you know, coffee is addictive. Now that was not the conflict. The conflict bit is how I responded to that. I told her even cocoa or whatever is addictive. That was it. That was it. You know, she kept quiet. She doesn't talk. I will tell you how we resolved that, but I also want to ask is there anyone, Peter, would you relate to such a small disagreement in the house?
It can, and there are several. You might find that where I place my socks has brought conflict. And I'm being very honest. Because we have agreed when I'm from work, I have to place my socks somewhere. But I keep forgetting every day, and it brings me hell.
Sometimes you leave them inside your shoes.
Inside my shoes.
They have the same
and,
problems inside the shoes.
and one has been picked,
Under
has
the
been
bed.
washed. You know.
Morning, you are adding under the bed. Oh no. And Richard.
Yes.
And that annoys her.
Yes. I have had similar problems with whatever put in different places. I don't know how you resolve yours in terms of that, because it's a bit irritating.
It's irritating because ultimately, when it has been misplaced and one of the pairs has been washed,
Yes.
and I want them the following day,
Yes.
again now I fail to understand I'm the one who caused it.
The conflict.
So how did you resolve, or how is it something that is still happening, or how do you resolve it?
I think I've improved the problem percentage.
And
And the solution we have.
yes.
We have decided to look for a strategic place where I keep placing them when I'm from. So at least I'm sure I'm 95%.
But you're
okay.
still having the same problem.
What happens when you still find it?
I feel
in the
so
wrong
bad. In fact, sometimes I tell him, you are a teacher, telling students, don't repeat this mistake. And then we'll keep on repeating it.
At what time do you tell him this? Immediately, or you have to wait?
Just on the spot.
There and then.
Immediately.
Spot on.
Yes.
There and then.
Thereby, I have other ways I resolve such problems of misplacing things and putting them all over and everywhere. My wife is an evangelist, literature evangelist. And you can imagine we have this shelf in the house and the books are there and everything is probably scattered on the floor and in the shelf. And we talk about this and you want them to be in the shelf and all that. My way of resolving that is simply to pick them and put them where I want them to be. You know, because I don't want to escalate this issue. Yeah. To me, picking them and putting them there resolves it. I smile about it, even though I don't like it.
I still have a problem with. No, let me come back to the resolving the other one, because I have another conflict with her, which has not been resolved, and I pray that you may help us. By the end of this show, we shall have resolved that. You know what happened? Because of how I responded to Linda's concern, she went quiet.
Yes.
Virtually the entire day she was quiet. So you know, I know when she's mad, she's quiet. So I tried talking to her, and now when I told her, no, we have to talk about this, she was. Do you want to tell them what you did?
Just cried.
She cried in the middle of her crying. She would talk, and you know, mixed crying mixed with talking, and at that point I knew that this is wrong. And to me, it was just a response. You see, you are concerned about my addiction with coffee. I'm also concerned about your addiction with cocoa, and that is wrong. What I did is that I stopped coffee.
That I agree. That was wrong. That sounds to me like a tit for tat, which is a fair game to many people.
And I want to agree with you.
Yes.
This is one of the key things that usually erupts when there is a conflict. If not well handled, there will be a tit for tat. Where somebody ends up saying, okay, if you've done that, let me do this. So that
This is the way.
I also feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Or cause you problem, they have caused me the problem.
I think resolving conflicts requires a lot of courage. And it also requires people to be very patient. Every time there is a conflict in a family, we don't need to go to that place where we think this has been done intentionally. There are moments and times when a statement off the cuff ends up actually annoying and bring a lot of quarrels. And that one place that commonly we fear to go to, of saying I'm sorry, is the best place for us to go. We hesitate sometimes.
Let me bring you back a little bit.
Yes.
Sometimes, and I was sharing with Peter while we were just preparing, that sometimes, you know, the way you come to me is the way I will get back to you. Is it the case?
Yes.
That if he comes to you up here, if he comes to you, Linda is saying in gear 1, you will also just come in the same gear.
Yes.
And that is what we call reactive.
Exactly.
Is it a way of solving conflict resolution?
Not really. It's not the best because when you are too high and you want to come to a consensus, no. One at least has to come down so that you get a landing ground to sort out the problem. And what I want to say is, okay, the problem will be there, But I
Yes.
think coming down, sitting together, reasoning, will make you at least find a amicable way of solving this problem.
The question is, Peter, who
Yes.
comes down?
I think one thing, in fact, I wanted to add that.
Yes.
Many times when you have conflict, we expect the other person to come down. We're always expecting, why
Yeah.
me all the time?
Yeah.
I want to encourage viewer, be the bigger person. Always don't wait for your spouse, be the bigger person. And when you do that, it will, with time as you grow, he will also learn to grow. And you will not even, as much as you'll have conflict, you will be more proactive. Yeah, you will not be reactive.
What I can also
Thank you.
add is,
Just a minute, let me...
what I can also add is that when you're angry, you know, so many things pass through your mind,
Bad
which
things.
when you just decide to not to choose your
Actualize.
words, not to choose your words, you might end up hurting your spouse. And words are very powerful. There are words, we cannot reverse our words. Once we give out our words, it can either hurt or make.
And you
Most-
cannot
most-
control
Most of the times it
damage.
would hurt
Yeah.
because you are responding in anger.
In
You are,
reaction,
you are
yeah,
actually
reacted.
reacting.
You are acting to that. So naturally, and most of the times, it will hurt.
It will hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's,
You asked a question that who should come down first.
yes, yes.
First of all, let me say something that when it comes to conflict, there is none who is as white as snow.
oh yeah.
You are bound to cause either deliberate or unintended problem to the other person. And it will depend with how the other person views it.
Yes.
Because when you want to look into a problem, you will see.
Definitely.
Just like if you have a clear glass and you focus, you'll still see a stain on it. So I think whoever comes down is somebody who has a mindset of being able to solve that problem.
My other question is what happens when, and this is directed to you, Molin, what happens when now you have tried to solve it, it has come back again, it keeps recurring, every day it keeps recurring, and you have talked about it, how do you handle it?
By the
Sincerely.
way,
How will you do it?
sometimes I just fail to understand. I usually tell him, now you do this thing, I tell you not to do it. You keep on doing it. But sometimes I just feel like I just cry. I cry and then I let go.
That gives you some relief, but doesn't take away the problem. Doesn't solve it at all.
So Peter, do you think that what now puts her down is a concern to you? Because you know now it's moving out of now a conflict into something else. It began into a conflict and now it is escalating into something else.
Yeah, you see, just as she started by saying I'm a teacher and you are an instructor and you expect instruction to be taken. And that's her area of operation. So I think by the fact that I'm not disposing myself off well, and she keeps insisting, probably it's a problem not yet solved. But I think also with that continuous reminder, you know, there's a way in which good talking and if somebody forgets, you keep reminding in a good tone, you know. Basically, I know, that's why I was saying I'm 95% there.
I want us to read the book of Romans 12, verse 18, even as Tabi, you
Yeah, I
comment.
just wanted to add that most of the times why we also don't solve our conflicts is just they've asked, what time do you react? You understand? So I think if it's a problem that is recurring, what you need to do, you know your spouse. Find out whenever he's happy. Talk about it casually. You know what, Mwalimu? The truth be told, I really don't like these socks being, you know, you put it in such a way that it's interest, like it's something that you're not so angry about. But if most of the times you have a stern face when you're solving something, it will not be solved easily.
It's already a defense from the other
Exactly,
end.
yeah, like, yeah.
Dave, today in the morning, before we left our house, Tabitha was preparing clothes for washing. And I remember she mentioned yesterday she received a text saying that we will not have water today. And I was saying, don't do that. And we started talking about that last night. And in the morning she was still insisting. What I did was just to go take the same clothes and put them out where there's the tap. I said, let it be. I mean, if the water is not there, we will see to it at the end of the day. I felt that was the best way to solve that, because I'm thinking, you are the one who got the text, and you still insist you're going to wash. And I asked her, you insist that you want these clothes to be washed? I said, yes, okay. Then she comes out to say, oh, so you pulled them out? I said, yes, I did, because you wanted them out there.
Well, let's read Romans. We are coming to you. Let's read Romans 12:18. We are almost taking a break.
If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
I love that bit. If it is possible,
Yes.
try to live in peace. And how much should we try, especially with our loved ones? How much should we
Every
try?
day, every
All the
minute,
time.
every
Endlessly.
second.
Every second
Yeah.
we need to try, because you know this is, we need to be in peace.
Yes, we need.
At peace.
Yes.
This is family times, and these are some of the topics that we are talking about. You realize that there is a conflict. How do you solve it? When do you solve it? We are taking a short break. When we come back, we talk about solving the conflict. Welcome back, viewer. This is Family Times, bigger and better. Today we are talking about solving conflicts or conflict resolution. We have realized that there are conflicts, yes, but how do we resolve them? How do you resolve them? I want us to talk about the steps of resolving conflicts, and to help us do that, I want us to read a text. Let us read Ephesians 4 verse 26 and probably verse 27. What does it say?
Ephesians 4:26 says, Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
27.
27 says, Neither give place to the devil.
What do you think about that verse?
Yeah, in most of the cases, you find that anger can easily override somebody when conflict arises. And for me, I think the best way ever I've used to handle conflict is to settle down first, and then you cut down on the many words that you could have spoken, because you realize words can end up damaging more. So, yeah, as much as you might be hurt in a way, but silence would be a healing process and can open doors for you to start solving the
Molin,
process.
is there a place for prayer in solving conflict?
Yes. As it goes, there's nothing which is impossible with prayer.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
if you pray, even if the heart was so bitter, at least you get relieved.
Sometimes the heart can be so bitter that the heart is bitter by its bitterness. Shabi, what else would you put first, even after prayer, in solving conflict?
You should know which conflict you're solving. Yeah. And I just wanted to add that it's not only the married or the spouse. Conflict can be between in-laws. Conflict can be between a neighbor, even children. So there are different conflicts that we have. So you cannot solve a conflict that you do not understand. Get to understand it first, and with whom
You
the
have
conflict.
with.
Yes.
Bring it to the table.
Right.
Discuss it.
Discuss it.
No matter how bitter it is.
Right.
No matter how sour it can be. Bring it and discuss. Yes,
The
Richard.
point of understanding conflict is key, because the moment sometimes when we react to issues only because we have not understood.
We haven't understood.
Yeah. If we were to come to that place where we understand, then it would be very easy to solve a conflict. And therefore, if you start by praying about it, I believe prayer gives you a lot of peace. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of everything. And once you have committed that matter to God, you know you are on a good place already, because God will help you go into the conflict and solve it. You're going to have peace and happiness.
And then I just wanted to add, sorry about that. The reason I said it is good to know the conflict. Many times we have issues with my spouse, but it's not even what you thought.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, so that was the problem.
Misunderstanding, the one we were talking
Exactly.
about. Yeah.
So that is really the reason why, you know, at times, unfortunately, women, when we ask what's the problem, you're like, nothing. Yeah,
And-
that is
and
because
is-
we are not ready to talk about it.
Is that the real case? Linda, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that we need to be proactive. When
Not
someone has,
reactive.
yeah, not reactive. When someone is hurting you or has said a word that you know it's going to go down in a bad way, what you need to do is just pause. Pausing always helps, because when you pause, then you breathe in. It usually brings you down naturally.
How long should be the pause?
The pause should not take long. It's just some few minutes. Then you just compose yourself. Then I know in your mind so many things will be running.
Yeah.
But this is the time that you need to pray and ask God, give me the words.
Give me the words.
Give me the words so that I choose the best words to give this person. Yeah.
Well, viewer, we learned this some time back, and we have been practicing it, and I want to tell you, it is wonderful. We have conflicts almost every day, but how we resolve them.
All over.
You talked about the problem. When we come to the table to discuss, now we've talked about prayer, then we have a discussion about this, and then we specify the problem.
Right.
What if there are problems?
Yeah, you solve the problems, and one at a time.
Yeah.
I want to give an example of once we had known how to be proactive. We actually talked about it. There's a time he told me something that I didn't like, and normally how I used to react, I would mute, just keep quiet. Then I said, you know what, for how long am I going to do this? Yeah. So now after he told me the word that I didn't like, you know what I told him? I'm pausing. And we laughed about it. Yeah. And the anger that was in me went. Yeah, because when I tell him I'm pausing, he knows.
Yes.
Yes, because I'm trying to really think, do I tell him this? So when there are times you can make fun out of a situation.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I say conflicts are fun sometimes.
Yes, Peter.
Dave, I realize that prayer is very important.
True.
And most of the cases, people fail to pray when the such kind of conflicts arise. Personally, I have encountered this. That there was a time back then when we were just 5 years in marriage, and a certain misunderstanding arose, and just out of phone call. And I was down, and my wife was down, and all of us were down. Then we took time to pray, and I realized the only thing, I found myself in the supermarket having a card, and the card was just, when I brought it to her, she read it, and it was all good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's a
Molly, how did you feel about the card?
I felt relieved.
So there are several ways of resolving conflicts.
Yeah.
I remember I used to be very easy to anger, and she would laugh about it. Whenever I get angry, I would just get up and walk away, and she would laugh about it. So there was no point of getting angry, because I need to be angry and she's laughing.
Yeah.
What is it?
That anger must be felt.
And again,
It's not getting any
at the
feeling.
time he was so hungry until he went and there was a wall somewhere. He decided to go and
Box the wall.
Then his hands were like swollen. So I was the one who was massaging, and I made sure that I was massaging.
Thank
so
God that was not directed at you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank God for that.
So viewer, we are talking about conflicts and solving the conflicts. And you will realize that even as our good friends are speaking here, these things are bound to happen. They're there. They're there in marriages.
They're there.
And how we solve them is what matters. Now, let's talk about, let's read the book of James 1:19, and we comment about this. It's an interesting verse.
James 1:19.
James 1:19.
It says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath."
I want us to understand, or I want us to talk about that. The Bible says, "Let every man," meaning, is it man, myself,
Everybody.
Yes.
slow to speak.
I think that's the proactive, that big proactive that my sister was talking about.
And again, we've been given, ideally from the creation, how God created us. He gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. What does it mean?
More
More than
less.
yeah.
But at that point, when everyone is here,
We need now to do the pause thing
Yes.
and pray.
Was I
And choose.
answered when I asked who goes down
Yes.
Yes.
first?
Yeah.
Did we agree on that?
Yes.
Who goes down?
All of us.
Both.
Yeah.
Both go down.
Yes.
And I
That
think it is
person.
some science that we need to practice with
Yes,
us,
yes.
or balancing in the scale, so that
Yeah.
when somebody is up, you don't as well rise up there. Instead, you come down. I think if you can balance there, it will find
yeah.
us somewhere.
Let me take you back to prayer. At that point, let's be practical.
Yes.
At that point, when Linda is let me be the offender.
Yep.
I have offended her, and at that point, that she has the right to give me back my words the way they have come. At that point, that she has paused and she is praying. What is the content of this prayer, Richard?
The
Okay,
content.
Tabby.
I wanted to say
Okay,
something.
okay, just
I
go
wanted
on.
to say something.
Go ahead.
Most of the times, okay, before I knew God, when He has annoyed me, you know what I would do? I would go on my knees and tell God, look at him. This man that you gave me, he is giving me a hard time.
Adam and Eve thing.
Yes, you know, God, blah, blah. I would just, open my mouth and all the words would come. But I realized that I had to change my prayer. I had to start saying, God, change me. You know, because truly speaking, if God changes me, I'll be able to calm down and I'll be able to be the bigger person and talk.
Yeah.
To talk about
There's a
Great.
writer who has said that if you cannot change things, then change
the
the way
change.
you view them.
True.
Yeah.
And then they will probably change.
Yes.
Maybe I would be the problem
Right.
causer and thinking the other person is the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
But if I view myself and do introspection thoroughly, I might realize I'm the offender. Therefore, when I remove all that, then there will be no
Things come in place.
problem.
So this is a soul searching experience.
For sure, yeah.
And again, how long should the prayer be? Because there are people who have a tendency of having a long prayer. I went to
As the spirit may be.
Remember, it's a personal prayer. It's not
yeah,
like
it is.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you take forever.
It is actually a prayer that you say from your heart.
Yes.
You probably saying that prayer and looking at this man who has offended you.
That's true.
And remember,
Or
there
walked
are
away.
only two choices. You either choose to bring more conflict or you choose to resolve
To
it.
resolve the
So
conflict.
we need to choose wisely.
True.
Thank you. Then now you can respond to whatever has happened to you. Again, how we respond really matters, whether we are going to throw in another one
Yes.
or that will quench the
Yes.
fire that just
Very,
began.
very true.
We want to give our final submissions, and at this point I want to start with the dwarves. I want to start with Molly. Conflicts are there to be solved. Just your final word, even as we come to a close.
Okay, conflicts are there to be solved. Tuseme amenikosea. And then first of all, I asked him whether yani kama amejua amekosa. Like for example, the issue of
Like
your
whether he did
socks.
it deliberately or not.
I think after the show I'll be grateful. Kama mtagu mwende kuchange, it will be good.
I know, I'm improving
Okay.
daily.
Try to tell your spouse or your child or whoever mwenye amekukosea, don't do this mistake, and then pray over it. Pray for the person. Maybe there's something in him
Thank you.
which is just kept telling him that why don't you do this? Just do this. Just do this. Maybe the devil in him. Devil works in so many ways so that it can separate the married
Thank you.
couple.
Thank you. Tabby, your final words.
To my viewer, conflict or no conflict, marriage is still beautiful.
Thank you. Peter?
Viewer, it is another time that we want to encourage those who are in marriage. That is a beautiful thing. When you are lonely, you really cannot stand. But when you are together, you can stand, and these conflicts can be resolved.
Thank you.
There's nothing which cannot be done.
Thank you. Linda, final comments?
My final comments to our viewer is that we've been told in the Bible, in as much as possible, just try to live at peace with everyone. And if you see that you cannot do it, you be the one who goes down, and you can control yourself, not the other person. So you do it. Yeah.
Richard,
Yes.
you have about 30, 40 seconds.
Yes, to our viewer, we want to let you know that all of us have conflicts in our marriages. And we are not even immune to that. These things will come, and we need only to know how to solve them so that we stop ourselves from getting into more conflicts. And it's possible. If we go back to God and ask God to give us the wherewithal to be able to sort out these matters. Many times they're only simple matters. And they don't need to put us in a place where we are going to break our marriages. No. There's still hope in marriage.
Thank you. Well, viewer, that is it. We have been talking about solving conflicts in family times. Remember, when you are married, you are two but one. So when you are in conflict, remember both of you are in conflict. And at the end of the day, it should be a win-win for both of you.
Yes.
This has been an exciting show. Thank you so much, the Peters of the Dwarves, for coming for this show. We hope to see you again.
Thank you so much.
To you, viewer, welcome again and see you soon.